And
This meeting is being recorded.
all right, we're back. I'll do some editing tomorrow, make some magic.
All right, so just go down the options, going by which one's most likely due. 29, 27, 29, 26, based on what has happened in previous cycle, 28, 26, 27, 26. And then as mentioned, 28, 27 is due at some point. Wouldn't blame anybody who took it in gold. I just don't like it.
Right.
Now the other thing, so I got 4 singles in the BRL.
Right.
I prefer to really drill down and only have one front, maybe 2, but typically just one front, so I can have a few more options on the back 5.
Okay.
I feel like if I'm going to miss somewhere, it's most likely there. So, yeah, at this point, people, based on which path they like, gets to pick from one of these options.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with this cycle. It's pretty tempting. I know you look at what is it? It's specific hold pairings. Is that right?
Yeah, I always look at like like for example, for this time through, what I started to work on was the 29, 26, and looking at, or 29s in general, 29, 27 too. Like, okay, if it's one of the 29s is going to drop, what's it going to be? So I was leaning more towards 1 because 22's been stronger. Although we do know that they can also say, oh, the time for 22 to take a dive. So are these all the various combos?
No, this is just previous cycles information.
Okay.
Going, let's see, we got
going back 10 years.
147. So not quite 10 years. I think this was 9 years, 8 years. Really, you only need like right here over.
Has it ever happened?
No reason to delete it.
Has it ever happened where some guy was like, I got a 501 because I noticed in 2013 in August there was this thing and I did the same thing and it worked?
Yeah, you'll hear it. You'll hear from somebody. One small thing, it's not 100%, but it's trending up. A hold that went 25 2 cycles ago goes back 25. If you start glancing around, look how often that started happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
We noticed that. And then, of course, I felt like as soon as we started noticing and mentioning it, it stopped happening. Almost as if the IWAR was listening.
Yeah, that's why I'm hesitant to tell anybody anything because you just don't know. I'm hoping they at least don't hear it by Monday.
Right.
But if you notice, that is a 27 and a 26. So there's a good chance that a 27 or 26 will drop. And going back to our options, well, they all had that. Doesn't really help us, does it?
No.
Yeah.
So I mean, in the one hand, okay, that's not bad.
So the next thing I like to look at is some of these actual holds and the likelihood that they will drop. Similar to what we saw with this, I just like to look at the holds the same way. So let's look at the 29s first. Hold 1. So it's been 5 cycles. Coming off of 26 to 29. 26 to 29, and then it dropped. Probably going to drop soon, is what I'd say. It's actually, it's good when they do this, but yeah, you see it. It's had a couple of little unusual increases recently. They really hated hold 1 for a while in several feds. Like it was just, you could almost automatically just assume every other cycle and be right more than you'd be wrong. It's extended out a little bit, but I don't think we can rule it out.
Right.
Uh,
Well, whereas
yeah.
22 has been pretty much reliable as the
Exactly.
opposite of 25.
It's clearly going to drop soon. I don't like guessing when a hold's went this long if it's going to drop this cycle. So I'd probably keep that. Really weird how consistent that's been. I mean, it's almost like a 25 lot.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's out, but just going by trying to eliminate something, I'm probably going to take the 22s off. I'm assuming also sometimes with something like this that a lot of people are going to probably think that that's due, and I'm trying to be a little different than what I think everybody will do. So again, there's no solid it's guaranteed to not drop, but I'm going to say let's get rid of the 22s. So this is just that larger version over here.
Right.
Just
Okay.
like to start cutting things off of it. You see, we didn't really take much off, but we can take some of those other things. Like I didn't feel good about a double drop, and I did not feel good about 28, 27. Okay. So we're pretty sure if a 29 is, it's going to be 1. And now we got to try to cut something else out. You see, there's only one option with the 8s.
Right.
So let's go look at those and try to decide which of those we like.
5 and 8, right?
Interesting ones. You got this 1 and then a 2, and as you look back, it can kind of cluster like that. Like you get the 1s, you get the 2s, you get a 3, and they kind of, it's like their turn of the year to not be a good hold. We had a 3, we had a 1 here, then we had a good stretch, then we had a 1, then we had a 2. Probably going to be a decent hold, but it's like down here. I also kind of, as I'm doing this, also look at, like you see this went 30 and then 28. So I like to look back and see, coming off of 30s to 28s, did it do things like that? How does it react in that situation? You see we had a 27, 30, 28 drops to 26. 27, 30, 28 went up. 27, 30, 28 dropped. So if we were kind of paying attention to that, we see that it actually happens several times. It's probably going to not be a great hold, though. Could be a 26 or it could be a 25. I'm not going to roll that one out. I do think I'll keep 5 in my strats, though. Like I said, you see these where it could happen a little quicker, but
right.
I want to cut something, and I'm not convinced at the first look. Again, when you got to get down to 4 holds, you got to just make decisions.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So let's go over to the 27s. We got 59 and 45. 59. Again, 30, 28, 27. 30, 28, 27 into a 25.
Oh, yeah. 30, 27, 25.
Yeah. I like, you see pretty often, it's obviously going to trend down. Could it go 4 in a row? Yeah, you see a lot of, when it goes 25 here, it went down 4 straight from a 30.
Right.
4 straight from a 30. Then it had its little rough patch. Then we had a 3 down. Then we had a 4 down. I almost feel like 59 has a good chance to drop.
Boom, boom, boom. Well, well, well.
Yeah. And then we know we like one of the 25s from 2 cycles ago to drop with it. If I feel that way about 59, then I like the 26 that has a chance to do that, which hasn't really done that previously. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing that happen.
It was 45 was the other one.
Mhm.
Well, that won't happen.
That is the
because-
27. Yeah.
Yeah, so that won't be a case.
I'm kind of just going through it.
Mhm.
Nothing special. Had a good run. Then it's kind of been mixed. Had a good run. Yeah, I think out of the two, I liked it. This hold 53. That was a 25 2 cycles ago to drop more than this one.
Mm.
So let's take off those 45s. All right, 53 or 46. I said 53 already.
Mhm.
Glancing at 46. 46 has not had a great life. It's eventually got to improve, I would think. Yeah, I'm not crazy about that one dropping. You see it has a lot of 1s, 2s, and 3s,
Yeah.
but it's eventually got to come out of that a little bit. I think you'll see it probably get a good run coming up in the near future of not dropping, kind of like Hold 22 has, or you see a lot of these others. Eventually, it
Okay.
becomes a hold that's going to do that. I don't like taking one too often like that.
It's going to be the new
I'm gonna-
22.
All right. So there's the one, because like I said, I like to have one front, so I have more room on the back. So I'm going to pick from one of those 4 at the end. The back,
Okay.
the back can be really tough, obviously, because you basically have to make 3 decisions, and you cannot get one wrong. The first one, like I said, when hold 90 is at 45, that means
Yep.
we have 16 options. We basically have to pick which 44 we like, which 43, and which of these 4.
Right.
It's tough to, like I said, I like to get down to one of these. Sometimes I'll leave 2 options out of the 42s or 41s. Sometimes I'll leave both 43s or both 44s. There's not really a specific one that you narrow down to have a better comfort level. And then they're gonna leave us guessing a little bit this cycle. They've done something really weird the past 2, where they
Okay.
went all 42s and then they went all 41s. These are holds that go to 44. If you're wondering what this is. All 42s, all 41s. That last happened. Let me find it even. I know it's here.
In 2014.
Yep, here it is. It was 118 cycles ago this happened.
Jeez.
Yeah, so actually happened twice, back to back. And that's why I was really curious this cycle if they dare do it again, but people would have just been covering that too easily. I actually went to 41 and still just assuming that they're going to start mixing it up.
Okay.
We're getting no information from back then though, because you see they went into this really unusual cycle after it where both 43s went up. You recall that
Yep.
used to happen. That doesn't exist anymore. So
Okay.
they're gonna do a good mixture this cycle. Unfortunately, it's going to be something you can't really get a good read on. Could be, 42, 41, 42, 41, but it's going to be some kind of mix.
All right. So it could be either
I
one.
guess, yeah, like, and this is a tough one to narrow down.
Well, looking at the what I've always done with 41s and 42s, I've always looked at traditionally what's like the stronger hold last, let's say like 8, 9
Mhm.
cycles. And then what I've been doing is if 90 was at 44 or 43, especially 43, I would go with a weaker one. And I don't know if that has any really good relevance or not, or just,
It's kind of like that. That's one of the things with everything. There's going to be percentages that if you take it over the long run, you're going to be successful with it because it will have like a 60% chance. But if we look at, like 5 of the things I looked at in that, they're all going to say something different percent wise. So that's the main thing is you figure out which one you like and you stick with it. And percentage wise, you'll be right, majority of the time with it.
like I'm looking at this here and, 85, kind of a dog now. 66 been a dog for a long time. And then we got our 42s are what, 67? Yeah.
Yeah. 67 does something that I don't like to take. If you kind of glance around, you'll see it's rare that a hold can go one where it drops below 43 and then it bounces back up to a 44 and then it drops back down. The odds of it going back to a 44, if you look around, you're not going to see many of those.
Okay.
It's just not something they do very often. Like right here's a 42, 43, 42, 43, but you won't see many where it jumps back to 44.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's 100%. Nothing is, but
Sure.
there's a really good chance that that's not going to happen again. Like you'll see this where it's a 43 and it can go 44, but them doing the same hold twice like that, just not likely. So 67 we can take off.
Damn you, 67.
All right, then let's go ahead and eliminate one more while we're here. Like I said, it's going to be tough to get a read from this.
Right.
Just trying to see. So see like we have 42, then 2 41s, 42, 2 41s. So it is fairly, well, no, as we go back, it's not. I was going to say it looks like multiple cycles in a row typically have a 41 if it happens once, but it's only true the last little bit.
Now, how far back do you go and think of like this is still relevant, or do you think like, for instance, like this is the trend now versus, well, it was this way 2 years ago, it can happen again?
Typically about a year and a half or two.
Okay.
But so my job in real life is basically this. I have to look at numbers and figure out future forecasts and trends and things like that. And in that, it's great the more data I have. But yeah, the IWA, the more you have, you can lead yourself down the wrong path.
Are there any coworkers in your field who are like, I play this game, the IWA, on the side to have fun?
No, I've never heard it. But
I use a pseudonym. My name's
I'm pretty sure they would have questioned me about it by now.
nice. The truth revealed. One of my coworkers, I forgot how it came up, but we were talking about wrestling because he likes AEW, and I mentioned IWA and started talking about it. He's like, oh, check it out. And I've he hasn't checked it out yet. And I'm like, once he breaks that barrier, like, yeah, I read this thing on the IWAR magazine. But that's all right. He'll be like, nerd. All right, so we're 40. So we're saying of the 242, 63, the more yes versus the 67, which is no. And then we would say 41s, we're looking at
66 and 85.
Yeah, and 66 has been for a while.
Yeah, so you look at the 3 off and then the 4. It had what, a 4 and a 5, a 3 and a 4. So yeah, it's not a great hold. I almost feel like it's got to be one of the 41s though. Just weird. Like I said, I don't like these that are kind of choppy going up and down like this.
Right.
Could it bounce back up? Maybe, but it's less likely to do that than do something like this where it kind of goes up and down and then it goes on a little roll of 41s and 42s. Quick glance though, I'd say the 41s, because of how bad they've been,
Yeah.
one of them's got a hit. So we'll take off a couple more. So that gets us down to 8 backs and 4 fronts. If we had a giant roster, we have our 32 singles.
Holy moly.
But no, not many people do that.
No.
20, 25 maybe, but not that many.
Right.
Okay, so let's go look at the 43s. And a lot of what you were talking about with strong weak holds, I feel like that's more important on the 44s and 43s when I look at them.
Okay.
So 41s, this would be the weak. So people understand what we're talking about. And then we got the strong. 73 has been really good, hasn't it?
It has.
It's actually for a back hold that's not 90, that's a pretty big stretch. 11 in a row.
Right.
So there was a 14.
What could go
not
wrong?
A lot. Yeah, not a lot of went to that or past 11 in a row. So let's look at this weak one a little bit. It's really not that good looking, is it?
Yeah, 62 has been kind of garbagey.
Yeah.
I remember for a while I was always picking between 61 and 62. I was always picking the one like the wrong month, like the wrong cycle. It would be like, oh, last time I picked this, I'll pick this time. You know.
That's one thing, like when people try to guess these, not so much this cycle, because when 90 is at 45, we're going to assume it goes to 44. So it's our hold 14. But in the other cycles where, it's going to be just 2 random holds that aren't as automatic, I always was picking the wrong one. So I just essentially went with whatever it hit 2 cycles ago. Like this was a 44 to 45. I would have put it back at a 44. Because as I looked over a long period, it was above 50%. So it's a coin flip and I might have a slightly better chance. But when I was actually trying to make some kind of guess on it, I was getting my 14 and 15 mixed up constantly.
Okay.
Then this kills your point flow. Can't have that. All right, I'm going to hold off on those 44s. Really don't like the 44s. So this might be at the point, I told you I had to pick I have to lock in either the 44s and 43s, the 44s and which of the 42 or 41 I like, or 43 and 41. So being that doubtful on the 44s, that's probably the one I'm going to have adjusted on the hold. So I have one constant front 10. That's probably what's going to be split to where two will have 142, 144,
Oh, sure. Okay.
and one the other.
Yep.
The 43s. I will probably go with the weaker 43. You see it's had that bad stretch, but it doesn't really go two bad stretches in a row. Now it can drop right after a little stretch like that.
Right.
But it was dropping off 44 and a 44. So quick lines, I kind of like that one. Now sometimes, and I don't actually have the information to back this, but I feel like you probably shouldn't take both weaks or both strongs often.
Right.
Like it feels like it's typically a mix of the two. I probably need to look at that to see if that's true, but this is kind of my feeling.
For a long time, I was playing Atari, and I would use the most obvious, the most obvious. So I would say okay, strong with 90, if it was whatever, and then the strongest 43, strongest 40, 2, whatever, and just give that to Atari. It wasn't too bad. Sometimes it would work out okay, but it is risky, and I always feel that there is that risk of not mixing it up and just you eat it all your guys. You gotta mix. I always try to make sure I diversify, because there have been times when I've tried to go all in and it always fails me. Like when I go all in on a set of holds, it's like, oh, the back five, I'm gonna go 73, 90, blah 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 blah, and it's like, should have done that.
Yeah, so I'm going to take that week 43. Which one was that? I forget already. Been a long day. 65 is the one I want to get rid of. All right. So now it's down to on the back. Do I want to lock in one of the 44s, or do I want to eliminate one of the 41s? Since I said it was kind of something I thought about, I'm going to go ahead and just take the stronger of the two 44s. I want to try that, see if that was right on what I was saying, where if I take the weak of the 43s, maybe I should take the stronger 44. Let's do it. Yeah, let's. So it's 73. I'm going to do it. Okay. So I got my two backs, and then I got the four fronts. Like I said, it's that split of what could happen based on them not wanting to cut more options and help us out in diamond or bronze.
Right.
Or what looks to be more likely in gold. And it all hangs on hold one.
You getting that message too?
What was that?
Just running out of time. Your meeting will end in 10 minutes. So maybe we don't have unlimited time, but
I thought we did.
Good to know. Bastards.
Yeah, we can
That's
get
all
it.
right. That's right. So looking at our block here, and again, if you have some guys run one wrestler, and I always marvel at that guys that run one wrestler only, in the game. I'm always like, how do you pick? How do you pick that? That would just drive me insane.
it's yeah, you feel like you always make the wrong decision when you have it down to 2.
Right.
And but yeah, I'm gonna pick somewhere in these. Like I said, it's kind of just that coin flip between which way I'm leaning towards.
Right. No, this is
Probably
good.
need to do a little more work, but
I think it
yeah.
gives a lot of guys who are fumbling all these numbers a good idea to kind of think about the trends that motivate to make the right decisions, or make decisions you make, whether right or wrong, but make that decision for, well, okay, well, what can I go with that's going to be the most successful? Like for a while, what I was doing with my third man on my trios team for like the Von Schnapps, I always gave Victor or Alec both 44s.
Mhm.
And the thinking was that, well, 44 would go to 42 a lot off, and then 41. So I'd say I'd rather take that 2 points. And then for a while, I started abandoning that, and I went with both 41s just to mix it up, because well, it's going to go up, Because I think when you're trying to play for titles, even especially in a smaller league, I find, and I say smaller, I mean like fewer players. Every point can count, because those guys are throwing a lot of strategies out there, and you're trying to cover your bases. But was this your?
Yeah, this is a typical 6-man. This is actually what I recommend if somebody had 1 gold. They're going to hit pretty often with this one. You got your A's and your B's, on the holds, but the backs, wrestler A is the one that has to sacrifice a little bit because he has both 44s and both 43s.
Right.
So he's going to miss something. No way around it. But the bottom 2, you see they have both 44s and both 45s. Then they got a mixture. So one of these 2 is only going to miss 1. Actually, the other one's going to miss 2, though.
Right.
But often, wrestler 2 and 3 can star. In still this week, I had 2 499s come out of it because they only missed 1 hole in the back. Because they were missing the 27. So
okay.
I get a lot of regionals off of those wrestler 2 and 3 and 6-mans because they're often just missing something in the back and maybe missing 1 front hold.
Now, for you, when you're doing this, how often do you sit there and, like, let's say, like, for example, like, your tag ref 6-man wrestlers 1, 2 regionals, the next cycle out, will you say, well, I'm going to shift gears and give them single strats to try to win big?
If it's something like the BRL, my tag team is my tag team. I'm willing to, take the singles losses because they can't compromise it. But if it's in another league, I rotate who goes into the 6-mans.
Okay.
So like if you're actually in the 6-man champions and you win a regional, I'm going to get a new team. They're just going to automatically not be a 6-man.
Okay.
Got to value the singles title shots above everything. Since anybody can go into the 6-man teams, just got to sign an extra match.
Right. Well, this is good. I get, especially with, I know like the BWL is opening up this coming cycle, and a lot of players have been asking me about like, oh, like any advice on like trying to win the gold. I'm like, well, score high. They actually sent me an email asking about do we want to be in the Asiatic, hardcore, international? And I'm like, this is a women's league. You don't get to compete for those titles, right?
Oh, everybody does.
Everybody does?
Yeah, that changed last year.
Oh, did it? I didn't know
Every
that.
single league has a specialty status.
Okay. All right. So what are we going to put the women's league in?
It negates the concept of specialty if everybody has it. But
It does, yeah. But what group do you think we want to put it in?
Probably need to look at. Hold on.
I mean, I know
give us a real answer here.
BRL is an American. IWL is international. I don't think NWL is in any of those.
The NWL is American.
Is it American?
Yeah.
Okay. They never win it,
Um,
so I guess that's why I never noticed. Oh, there
Here's
you
the
go.
women's league. I would not say put it in international, although it doesn't really matter. But if somebody's trying to be in multiple,
Right, right.
overload them. There isn't a hardcore women's league,
Oh,
so maybe that's then we can claim we're the only one.
okay. All right, I'll make that note.
Yeah, and this is something else I track. This is active wrestlers, cards, and battle royal entries by league. Goes back several years. This file only has like a year, but just like to see how each league's doing and trending. And it's got the overall, so I can see overall activity.
Right.
As you can see, the start of the year where people load up. We got up to 5,200 active wrestlers. We're back down to 44.
Right.
But still, last year we got down to 4,000. So still
Now, how much of that is just guys coming in gung ho and then like 4 cycles in, they're terrible and they're like, whatever. Or how much is just guys who are like,
Not a lot of it's the stable race. Like
yeah,
these are the 3 biggest stables, right? So I kind of watch them. One thing I always tried to be cautious that I didn't want SOS to be larger than any other stable. I wanted to try to be at or below.
mm-hmm.
Virus has gotten pretty big this year. You see, they're actually almost 38% of the IWA. So we've relaxed our rules a little bit, as you see here. Most of that was just we brought on a lot of the newer people, a lot of NWL, BRL type people that we're looking to expand.
I saw one of the guys just got in there, McFerrari. Oh, Justin. We're at 2 minutes, so I think we're pretty good. We can probably end the recording now.
Yeah.
And then I can just, I think we've got BWL stuff. Let me all right. Well, that was the 41st Gold Workshop.